The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Speaking podcast coming to you on May 9th, 2023. How you guys doing? It is a pretty nice Tuesday afternoon here in South Florida, about 12:53, 1 o'clock in the afternoon here to record this. My youngest son stayed home today from school because he unfortunately got sick. He woke up in the middle of the night last night and started throwing up like crazy. A little stomach bug, but I think he's okay now. He said he got some meds overnight, some meds this morning, and then apparently he's okay. So good to see that. But that's been my day pretty much right now. He's actually on the other side of the studio here in my room watching Disney Plus. So I'm able to get away for a couple minutes and record this podcast. Wasn't able to go to my chiropractor today because of it, though, because I don't want to take my kids down there, or up there rather, in the doctor's office to get my my work done, because that's about an hour itself, and I don't want to have someone watch my kids and stuff. It's just too much. So I have to delay that to next week. But anyway, lots going on. Let's talk about here. NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs has been crazy. We are right dead set in the middle of the semifinals right now. Heat Knicks. Heat now lead that series 3 games to 1. I had the Heat in 6 originally. I really hope, as a Heat fan, of course, I really hope that the Heat closes out at the Garden. It'd be nice to see Jimmy Butler close out the Garden. That would be really cool. Some of the narratives about this, too, is just weird. Miami, an 8 seed. But I said this before the playoffs started. If they get in the playoffs, they'll be the most dangerous 8 seeds in history of basketball, because they're an 8 seed that was a 1 seed last year that's been in finals contention for a couple of years now with this roster. But the fact they beat Milwaukee, and look, we get they beat Milwaukee with Giannis missing a good chunk of the series, but they were able to close it out even when Giannis returned to the team. But then you're seeing now what they're doing in New York, and New York was a surprise at the first round, beating Cleveland in 5 games, a Cavs team that many believe are in the up and up, not really a finals contender, but kind of like a team that's top 4 in the East and should be able to win that first series, and then New York, took that out. I'm a little surprised Miami has been doing this with ease, but then again, it's one of those things where, when you have the right coach, you have the right star, and you have the right players and the right system, it's sometimes things fall in place at the right time. 3 weeks ago, nearly a month ago, at this time, I was sitting here in my house bitching at the fact that we lost to the damn Atlanta Hawks in the first play-in game to get the 7 seed. And then we were literally 5 minutes away from losing to the Chicago Bulls in the elimination game in the play-in tournament. Okay? And now we are literally 1 win away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd time in 4 years. That's amazing. That's an amazing run. And they're doing this. And let's not forget, they're doing this without Tyler Hero. They're the second best scorer. So right there, you got to find 20 points a game from somewhere. And Victor Oladipo was one of the better wingmen and defenders in the team. So it was one of the big playoff players last year in our run to nail going to the finals last year. And this is why I say Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball. This is why I say that, because Eric Spoelstra could do more or less than pretty much any coach in basketball today. He goes, oh, well, Greg Popovich. Yeah, Popovich means the greatest coach of all time anyway. I'm just talking about right now, in the results category. Popovich right now is in a rebuilding phase right now in San Antonio. Okay? Eric Spoelstra has his team competitive every year, no matter what. So, and like I said, I don't want to get ahead of myself because he's still got to clinch the game. Hopefully, the Heat finish him off in Game 5. That's the goal. From the New York Knicks, honestly, and I'll get to them in a second. I got another thing I'll talk about the Knicks in a second. But from the Knicks, and look, I like Julius Randle, I do, but for this team to get to the next level, I think they need to consider trading him. Like, if you want to get another whale. Whether it be Karl-Anthony Towns or Damian Lillard or someone else, another top 15 player that'll put you over the hump. I think Julius Randle needs to be in the discussion for players being moved. The Knicks have a lot of nice young pieces. R.J. Barrett's a good player. He's actually playing fairly well in this playoffs. Obi Toppin's pretty good. Mitchell Robinson is he's a one-trick pony. He's a defensive player, rebounder, not a great offensive player, but he's like a Tyson Chandler, rather. They have some decent pieces around them. But to get to the next level, I think they need to consider trading Julius Randle. That's just what it is. He's a good player. I've always liked him, but he's not a. I just don't think. I think he had a great year this year, but he's not someone I would want to build around as my main piece. Like I will say right now that Jalen Brunson, and in virtue of the stability they showed this year, and even in the series, he's the only guy who's been playing relatively consistent. Is the only player on this team that I think he's the best player on the team right now. You build around him. You build around him, and maybe not so much him being your main guy, but he's a core guy. He's stable, and there's value there. You bring a star. You bring in like I said, Karl Anthony Towns or another disgruntled superstar. Because I'm sure there'll be a few on the market, or some they'll probably ask to be traded next year or two. That's the direction you should go after the Knicks. That's just my opinion. So, 3-1 series there as right now. Game 5 is tomorrow night, Wednesday night. I'll be watching that, of course, here at my home. Lakers-Warriors. Lakers up 3-1 as well. I said before Game 3, when it was tied 1 apiece, I said the Lakers had to sweep both Game 3 and 4. They had to win both games. To me, the longer the series goes, advantage Golden State. And the Lakers could not come away from. I'm gonna call it Staples Center. I don't give a shit what it's called. The Crypto.com arena. It's Staples to me, no matter what, or the house that Kobe built. No split. You got to win both those games, and they did just that. Win the blowout in Game 3. Win a fantastic finish yesterday in Game 4. Lakers up 3-1. The Warriors dynasty on the verge of collapsing before our very eyes because there's a lot of question marks with this Warriors team going forward. Do they keep Draymond Green if he decides out of his contract? And, Steph Curry is carrying this team. Steph Curry is the only guy that really showed up for his team last night, rather. Klay Thompson, 9 points the entire game. Ugh. I mean, Klay Thompson's a great player, don't wrong. And he's still worth keeping around. Draymond made some mistakes late in that game, of course. But here's a big question here. Where the hell is Jordan Poole? What the fuck is going on with Jordan Poole? Where's he been? He's been awful in this series. He got that big contract. Was it 140 4 years or 5 years before the year started? The big fight with him and Draymond Green. Draymond punched him in the face, and Draymond missing suspended for a couple of days from the team because of what happened. And I feel like ever since then, I mean, I don't want to sit there and say that that's the reason why Jordan Poole's been inconsistent, because he's been actually inconsistent all year long anyway. But he's been awful to the point now where he's virtually unplayable. He wasn't even in the game late yesterday. They played Steph, Clay, Draymond. I think they played Moody, not Moody, the other kid, Mooney, whatever his name is. They played Gary Payton Jr. Jordan Poole is making almost $3 million a year, and he's unplayable. He might have the worst contract in the NBA right now. And it is not even a joke when I say that. Because right now, he still has another 4 years in his deal. Like right now, as I break this down right now, I'm going to bring up the contract right now. So next year, his deal kicks in, I believe. Next year kicks in. He'll be making $27.4 million next year. Then 24-25. It kicks up to 29.6 and 24-25. Then 25-26 season, it goes to $21.8 million. And then his last year in his contract during the 26-27 season, at age 27, he'll be making $34 million. Now, I don't want to have revisionist history here because I've said I understood why they paid him, why they committed this much money to Jordan Poole. He played fantastic last year. And this has everything to do with Steph Curry, preserving Steph Curry as long as possible. Steph Curry now is 35, I think 34, 35 years old right now. Still obviously a top 5 player in the league. Still obviously fantastic, elite, you name it. But you want to keep conservative as possible. And Jordan Poole last year, during the title run, showed signs that, we'll pay this guy like not an elite player, but under that, he'll make, and we'll keep him around, and we'll keep Steph Curry fresh. And now this guy has turned into a player that you can't even play him. You can't even play him in a game. You can't even play him in a crunch time. He's shooting out of games. He's been awful these playoffs. Awful. awful. So I don't know if the Warriors are going to try to move him in the year because now assuming they lose the series or whatever they lose, or if they, I don't know, we'll see. I wouldn't call him out this yet because I think I think they win Game 5. I think Game 6 is the one that will decide the series. If the Warriors somehow win Game 6 in LA, assuming we get to Game 6, then I think the Warriors win the series Game 7. My opinion. But the Lakers are good right now. They're doing a great job. LeBron, AD showed up yesterday too. How about Lonnie Walker? Shout out to my boy Tyrese, by the way, my boy, one of my coworkers, who's been saying for weeks, why is this guy not playing basketball? Why is he not in the game? He hasn't played any look at basketball in this playoff run, and they've used him the last couple of games. He's been fantastic. Just saying. So shout out to my boy Tyrese for pointing it out before everybody else was on the line on that one. But yeah, that's where I stand on that series. I don't think it's over yet because the Warriors are the Warriors. They've done the 3-1 thing before, but it's worth noting though LeBron has never lost a 3-1 lead in his career either. So it's something about there. In a series that I thought was going to end quickly, but we have come down to this. The Nuggets and Suns tied at 2 apiece, which means I have to stay awake tonight and watch this game. I got to stay awake and watch it because I missed Game 3 because I fell asleep. Suns won that game. I thought Game 4 Nuggets win that game. Suns won Game 4 as well too. Gonna say this right now. I think Devin Booker is a top 10 player now, and not just top 10 player. He's a top 10 snug. When I did my list before the year started, my top 10 top players in the league, 25 players in the league, I did it with my boys, of course, Zach and Chris on the podcast, and I ranked Devin Booker, I think number 12. I had Giannis, KD, Luka, Steph, Embiid, Jokic, LeBron, Tatum, Butler, and John Morant. My top 10. 11 I had Kawhi Leonard. Number 12, Devin Booker. No, Devin Booker is going to the top 10. I don't know where yet. Obviously, we'll do these rankings again next year, I'm sure, when we get to the opening of the season, of course, or at some point during whatever podcast we do in between now and then. We'll discuss it, of course. But Devin Booker's a top 10 player. Devin Booker right now is the best player on the Phoenix Suns right now playing. He's playing the best. I don't know if I put him and Kevin Durant overall. Kevin Durant has a bigger legacy. He's done more and this and that. But right now, focus picture right now, Devin Booker is the best player on the Suns right now. He's been the most consistent. He's arguably the best player in the playoffs right now. If you look at his numbers he's been putting up, oh my God. I mean, Stephen A. Smith calls him the white light-skinned Mamba. He ain't lying about that because he's been fantastic. He's setting records now. And the only reason why it's not even a bigger deal is because it's only in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Just saying. But Booker's all going nuts. He's been fantastic in these playoffs. The other player on the other side, Nikola Jokic, has been great. In a losing cause on Sunday, 53 points. Oh, by the way, on top of the 53 points, 11 assists. Oh, by the way, he's a center too. And it got me thinking also too about Jokic, and just obviously he hasn't won a ring yet. He's been to conference finals once. He may go back this year. We'll see how this series plays out. Best of 3 coming up now. But I think, and I never really thought about this before because it never crossed my mind to discuss this. But I think now we can have this discussion. I think Jokic might be already a top 10 center of all time. And I think what I might do in the coming weeks, maybe sooner than that, on the Unfiltered podcast, my other topic-centric podcast I do. Check it out. Subscribe to that one, of course, on the separate feed. I might rank him. He's in my top 10, I think. He might be a top 10 all time. Now, I don't know where I put him yet. I got to sit and do some research and this and that. But you think about names. The names come to mind. You think about top 10 players all time. The names come to mind, of course, Kareem and Shaq. And Kareem, Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Bill Russell. That's 5, right? Wilt Chamberlain at 6. Who else do you think about in that ilk? I don't know. That's 6 players there. Six guys there. Maybe Willis Reed. I don't know. But Jokic has to be in the top 10 now, right? Where you put him, maybe in the bottom 10 right now. I mean, it gets a ring that changes the conversation there a little bit. But he's. I mean, think about it. Like not just him, and I think even Joel Embiid at this point now. Though Embiid, the durability is still kind of an issue. Although he's been better the last couple of years, Jokic has been very durable. He's a complete center. Embiid could be also top 10 also as well. But I'm gonna rank that. I'm gonna sit with this one. Maybe next week I'll do a Unfolded podcast and just do a rankings of Nikola Jokic, where to put him in the top 10 centers list. We'll see. But that series all of a sudden is flipped on its head. Best of 3. I still like Denver to win that series. I had them in 7 originally, and I think it's probably going that direction now. I'll say if Phoenix wins Game 5, though, I think it could be over. We'll see about that. Finally, the other series in the East, Sixers and Celtics. That's tonight as well, too. Tied 2 games apiece. Celtics should win this series still. They've been a better team most of the way. Game 1, I feel like Game 1 they gave away that game to Philadelphia. And Philadelphia stole the game without Embiid, of course. James Harden went nuts. But this is the problem I have with the Celtics and Jason Tatum. This is why Jason Tatum, to me, is not a top 5 player yet. I feel like, and it's not a knock on Jason Tatum as a player. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's awesome. But he does have the tendency to fall asleep at the wheel. Sometimes, you wish to be a little more vocal as a leader. You want your best player to be the leader also, too. And I feel like he's not vocal enough. Joe Mazzulla, the first-year head coach, took over Ime Udoka following his firing. He's not a bad coach, obviously. He got an extension. A couple blunders here and there. The Celtics have his moments where they tend to fall asleep at the wheel. And they sleepwalk. They did it against Atlanta the last series against the Hawks, where they should have won that series in 5 games, probably in a sweep, and somehow, some way, the Hawks got that to 6 games, and Game 6 literally went down on the wire. So Boston has these moments. It did this last year too, when they fall asleep at the wheel. Like Boston right now is the best team left in the Eastern Conference. But if they fuck around and find out, they're gonna lose the series. Like if Philadelphia steals Game 5, which they've done already in Boston already in Game 1 without Joel Embiid, Game 6 is going to be on their heels. Boston will be on the heels, and all bets are off at that point. So I had Boston in 6 originally, but man, I mean, look, if Philadelphia could steal Game 5, this is I don't know, man. Boston is the Game 4 game. I know they were down big, they came back late, but they had to lead late in the game, and then they just blew it. I don't know. It feels like Boston's just giving a series to Philadelphia. I'll give Philadelphia a chance. That's what it feels like. Like, Boston's a better team, in my opinion. So, I still got Boston in 6, but tonight's game's going to be huge. Tonight's game is going to be massive. So, we'll see how that goes there. So, that's the playoffs right now for the time being. And I'm enjoying the playoffs. It's been awesome thus far. All right. What else have I been doing lately? I've this podcast was in my queue for the last 2.5 years. And I finally got, I don't know what made me want to listen to it. Maybe it's still the Knicks talk here with the Heat and Knicks series now. But the Knicks podcast that was done on The Athletic a couple years ago, narrated by Chuck D. Chuck D, of course, is the lead frontman for Public Enemy, one of my all-time favorite rap groups. He was awesome. By the way, his narration was awesome. The name of the podcast is called Shattered Hope, Heartbreak, and New York Knicks. It breaks down pretty much the James Dolan era of the New York Knicks. It really does start up with goes back to the era of Ewing, of course, but it really breaks down the last 25 years of the New York Knicks and how inept they've been. After 2 years in the queue, I decided to put it on. And James Dolan, obviously, we spoke on this podcast for years about James Dolan, how bad owner he is. He's worse than I thought. Terrible owner. They break down everything from the Isaiah Thomas hiring, back in 2002, I think it was. They break down the instability in the front office when they go back to James Dolan's history. His dad, who actually owned HBO at one point. James Dolan ended up taking over for his father in the mid-90s, and then he became the owner of the Knicks. They go through the Isaiah stuff, of course, like I said. They go through the constant head coaches in between, the Stephen Marbury era. They go through their pursuit for LeBron James 2010, and it failed. Then they go to Carmelo Anthony, and then the Carmelo Anthony and Jeremy Lin power struggle. The Phil Jackson takeover, which again are another reminder how bad Phil Jackson was for the Knicks. I even said back then that I wasn't necessarily a fan of the hire. Then again, another thing also about like how James Dolan is not really a fan of passwords, so they've had a lot of technology glitches through the years and hackers and stuff through payroll and whatnot. And then the last episode, I know they closed with the whole Charles Oakley incident with the guard security when he got arrested for reportedly disrupting the what he was doing there. Which again, people have said that wasn't the case. James Dolan is a paranoid individual, of course. And of course the failure to land Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Those guys going to New York, but not to the Knicks, going to the Nets instead of the biggest team Knicks in that market. And it makes me in some ways a New Yorker who was not a Knicks fan. Okay, and I explained this on the last episode I did. My history of how I'm a New York born individual, but also a diehard Miami Heat fan of 34 years. Okay. I do have some sympathy for Knicks fans as a whole, which is why when I go on Twitter, especially doing this series against Miami, I try to get heavy-handed with it yet because I don't want to be that guy. Because again, I also break bread with these people, most of the people during football season, because a lot of these Knicks fans are also Giants fans of football, and that's where my allegiance to football lies, and in the NFL lies, is with the New York Giants. So I do have some sympathy for the Knicks fans because of how inept they are. And this is why they get so happy they win one game in the playoffs, like 2 years ago in Atlanta, and they're having a big freaking parade or whatever, a big rally, or the same thing in Game 2 against Miami when the series not even over yet. But I get it; they've never been there, haven't been there in a long time. I've been near to the top in a long time. But it's a great documentary. It really is. And yeah, people lots of media members participate in this thing. From Stephen A. Smith to countless people, celebrities and stuff that lend their voices into this documentary. It's a fantastic breakdown podcast. I'm actually starting to get back into these podcasts again, these narrative podcasts a little bit now. I remember there's one on Tom Brady I started a couple years ago that I never finished. There's like two more they added recently. His Tammy Bucks years. I want to finish that hopefully soon. But yeah, check it out. It was The Athletic. Produced by The Athletic. It's called Shattered, Hope, Heartbreak, and New York Knicks podcast. So check it out if you get a chance, please. All right, that's about Bad Bunny. You probably wonder why I want to talk about Bad Bunny. Are you a fan? No, I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny. I said this earlier. I'm not a fan of Bad Bunny, but I'm a fan of Bad Bunny. I don't care for his music at all. I don't care for his music whatsoever. But I know he's huge. I couldn't tell you a Bad Bunny song for my life unless I heard the beat, and I'll probably have to take like 4 guesses to find out what it is. But Bad Bunny is someone that I have grown to respect as a wrestling fan. You remember 2 years ago when Royal Rumble happened? And he came out with Booker T at the Rumble. I remember saying, "Oh my God, why is this clown here and this and that?" And then he was in a feud with I think the Miz and whatever. And he had a fantastic match. A tag team was him and Damien Priest against the Miz, and I can't remember who it was exactly. Maybe John Morrison, so whatever, maybe doesn't matter. Bad Bunny has been involved with the WWE now for the last couple of years, off and on, pretty much. Not every single feud, and he's been off and on, whatever. Bad Bunny, I have to say, especially after this weekend at Backlash, his performance was amazing. For the record, the match with him and Damien Priest is actually on my match of the year candidates. It was probably the best match of the entire card, and it's definitely a match of the year candidate for me personally. Bad Bunny is good for professional wrestling. Bad Bunny is good. In fact, Bad Bunny is great for pro wrestling. And here's why I like because I always get weirded out by celebrities getting involved in the WWE or wrestling as a whole, because a lot of it has to do with PR and public relations and publicizing a new album or a book or this and that. The reason why I respect Bad Bunny, and look, obviously there's a marketing thing with this. We have to accept that. WB is huge. Bad Bunny is huge. It makes sense. Wider audience, whole nine. You get eyeballs, get ears. I get all that. But why with Bad Bunny, why I respect who he is, and why I believe he's good for wrestling is this. He's not just there for PR and publicity. Yes, he's there. Obviously, that comes with the territory. But the reason why I respect him is because he has a respect for the business as a whole. He's a fan of WWE. He knows the business. He actually loves the business. He actually studies it. And you hear feedback from wrestlers like The Undertaker and others, people who have been in the business for many years, who've spoken to this guy and said, yeah, this guy is legit. He actually loves the business. And, watching this weekend, in Puerto Rico, and with those fans out there, and the ovation he got, you had the Savio Vega comes out and other Puerto Rican, stars, and just the whole match with Damian Priest, the match, the psychology, everything, you name it. Fantastic job. And Bad Bunny has been batting 1,000, but everything he's done with the WWE the last 2 years. He's batting 1,000. It's been great. He's really good in the ring. Look, he's not going to give you 5-star matches because he's not a wrestler, but he does. You can see he's putting the work. You can see like some of the moves he makes. That he's not just there just to make a mockery of the business. He does care. He's a fan of the business, and it's good to see that. It's great. Like I'm not a fan of him, but I'm a fan of him. You know what I mean. He's great for wrestling. He really is, and I'm really proud. I'm glad. I'm glad. In hindsight, I can say that I was wrong about how I felt about Bad Bunny coming into WWE 2 years ago, because he's to me he's added to the spectacle. He's added to it in a big way, and for that I respect that about him. So kudos to Bad Bunny for a job well done. All right, a couple of things to get out of here. A couple of personal things here actually. It's kind of stupid, of course, but I'll say it anyway. So I actually ditched my wallet after many years. But I say, well, who gives a shit about your wallet? No, so I'm pretty old school with a lot of things. But my wife, when I was talking a couple weeks ago, was saying, and I was telling her, I might want to get I want to be more efficient with things I do in general. You'd be amazed at a wallet in your back pocket. I keep in my back pocket, and you sit all the time. It actually is pretty bad for your back. It sounds crazy to say that, but the little pressure it puts on there when you sit down for, especially for many hours in my job, of course, it can put a lot of pressure on your back. And there was a reason why I did that though. But I want to be more efficient. I don't use much cards anymore. The only cards I have right now are my bank card and my license. That's it. The only cards I need. So I don't need I don't need that pressure having a wallet. And I've always thought that one day I'll probably get a Popsicle wallet. At first I thought the idea of having a Popsicle wallet on your phone is actually a dumb idea, because if you lose your wallet. But I also realized too that my phone, I never lose my phone, because number one, my phone's always on me no matter what. You know what I mean? I'm likely to lose my wallet before I lose my phone. That's how often my phone's on me or near me. So I actually got for my birthday last week. My wife got me a Popsicle wallet from Amazon, and I gotta tell you, I'm actually amazed how much I like it. It's been kind of weird getting used to, because I'll go to work and I'm like, I'm trying to pay something real quick, whatever. I go in my pocket with my wallet, like, oh wait, my wallet's not my wallet. No, I don't need my wallet. My wallet's here. And plus, with the Apple Pay now too, especially, I've been utilizing that a lot in the last year. I don't need a wallet anymore. Like my card as it is barely gets run as it is anyway. Like the only store that I have to use my bank card now, which is still ridiculous. But I found out why they did it, is Walmart. Walmart doesn't take Apple Pay, and I don't understand why. This is also why I barely go to Walmart as it is, because that's why. But apparently they want to build their own thing, and they don't want Apple to get involved with that. So whatever. But I've had this a couple days now. I really enjoyed it. It's really efficient. It's part of my whole minimalism thing too. Also trying to be more efficient and direct and whatnot. So that's just that. So finally, last thing here. I just saw today that McDonald's finally, after I think a couple of years, 3-4 years, has now brought back the McDonald's Bagel sandwiches. Not a massive McDonald's eater anyway, especially now with my health and focus and all that. And when I did eat McDonald's a lot more often back when, I would always get a bagel with egg and cheese or bacon, egg and cheese. If I had to run to work running late, I couldn't make anything at home. But they stopped serving it, I think, a couple of years ago. We're talking before COVID. So I didn't go there often. Like, I'll probably get a big breakfast once a blue moon, or Egg McMuffin once a blue moon, that kind of thing. But I was never really a big McDonald's breakfast guy in the same way. I'd rather gone to Einstein or something else. I'll make it on my own at home. But this morning I'm on Facebook, and this ad pops up on my Facebook, and it says that the bagels are back. I'm like, whoa, really? Now look, I probably shouldn't be eating bagels anyway because it's bad carbs, honestly. But as I tell you, I've been struggling with carbs, and the only way I can get away with eating quote unquote carbs is eat it early as possible in the day. So I said earlier in the podcast, my son was sick today. He stayed home from school. He had mentioned to me that he wanted an egg muffin. So immediately I said, okay, perfect. That means I was going to McDonald's and get the bagel now. So I went this morning, got the bagel. It felt great to have it. It was awesome. It tastes the same. And that's the only bagel I will eat, honestly, that they don't toast. Because I always have all my bagels toasted. Has to be toasted. All my bread toasted. Has to be toasted. They don't toast the bagels here at McDonald's. But for some reason, it actually tastes just fine. And it doesn't bother me. So it's good to have that again. So McDonald's, good job on bringing that back. I hope you keep it in your menu. Don't even know why the hell you got rid of that in the first place. It made no sense to me at all, honestly. Because you lost a lot of business as a result because of me not going there as often because you took it away. It was a very foolish idea. But kudos to McDonald's bringing it back. So anyway, let's call there. That'll do for the podcast. Again, dated May 9th, 2023. Again, I'm on Twitter at EJChristian7. Check out my podcast, of course, the Earnestly Unfiltered podcast, which we do depending on what I want to, singular topics and stuff. Like I said, I might try to do the Jokic episode this week or next week. We'll see how that goes. But again, we'll talk to you guys later. God bless y'all. And we will talk soon. Later.